What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now in today's video, we're going to go over why NIO is actually spending $850 million to buy shares of their subsidiary. And we're also going to cover how NIO is currently accelerating their plans to enter the American market, and also some information regarding NIO expanding to Europe by the end of 2021. But before we actually jump into the video, for those of you who are new, my name is Evan and I make videos showing you guys different ways to make money in the stock market. So if that interests you guys, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss when I upload. Also, if you guys wouldn't mind going down and hitting the like button, I would really appreciate it, and it lets me know that you guys enjoy these video updates every day. So again, if you guys wouldn't mind hitting the like button, I would really appreciate it. But now for the share price of NIO, they're actually trading pretty flat, and they have been for about the last week or so. And right now, as of today, they're down about 0.6% in the red, and they're trading right around 57.50. And looking at the chart, of course, you can see that they started the day kind of high, about 2% in the green, and now they're starting to level off towards the end of the trading day here, right around 57.50. But when we look at the 1 week chart, it looks like it's pretty volatile, and while NIO is down about 2.5% on the weekly chart, they really haven't been making very big moves lately, and you can especially tell by looking at the 1 month chart. Now, of course, they're still up on the monthly chart, but looking at the last few weeks here, you can see that NIO's been trading relatively flat, and it looks like they're consolidating right around $57 to $58. Now, if you ask me, that's a pretty good spot for NIO to consolidate, and it's a pretty strong area. Now, ideally, you would want NIO to be above $60 because that's a good mental resistance point, and if NIO can stay above that, that would be a lot better. But even at this $57 to $58 area, NIO is maintaining a pretty strong hold here, and it looks like they could break out in the future here, especially with some of the catalysts coming up like earnings. Now, we're not going over earnings today. We're going to cover that in another video sometime in the future. But we are going to touch on why NIO is actually spending $850 million to buy shares of their subsidiary. So as of February 4th, NIO said in a regulatory filing that they're planning to spend about $850 million. And this is to purchase 3.305% of an entity called NIO China from 2 investors. Now, I'm relatively sure that quite a few of you probably aren't familiar with what NIO China is, unless you guys have been following NIO for quite a few months. Because if you guys have just jumped onto NIO in the last month or two, you probably aren't aware of what NIO China is. So I'm going to kind of back up and give you guys some information and why this is big news for them to purchase $850 million worth to get back 3.3%. So going back to the beginning of 2020, we know that NIO wasn't in very good shape, and they weren't sure they would have enough cash to make it through 2020. And because of this, they actually had to borrow money to cover their monthly payroll, and this was last February. And at the time, NIO was trading right around $3, and it looked like they didn't have a lot of options. And so because of that, it looked like NIO was probably going to go bankrupt. Now fast forward to April, and they made a deal with an economic development authority, and this was in China, and it involved the capital city of China. And basically in exchange for some equity and a promise to relocate their headquarters, the authorities invested about $1 billion, and this was enough to get NIO back on their feet. Now, the only thing about this bailout was that there was a catch, and NIO had to give up some of their assets. So NIO put all of their Chinese assets into a legal entity called NIO China, and in return, they got a 75.9% stake in NIO China. So in other words, new investors owned about 24% of NIO's assets in China. Now at the time, NIO did have assets outside of China as well, and this was including a tech center in California, and those weren't actually included in the deal. So in the beginning, people seemed a little bit skeptical knowing that NIO only owned 3/4 of their NIO Chinese assets. But it ended up being good enough for investors, and after a while, enough people started investing in NIO, and it got them back on their feet. And a lot of this was due to hype around Tesla, because as Tesla stock surged, a lot of auto investors began looking for the next Tesla, and that's where NIO was discovered, and then the rest was kind of history from there. But now going from last April and then fast forwarding again to August, and NIO raised even more money, and this was when their stock had risen to nearly $20, and they figured that the price was high enough to raise some more capital. And so at that time, NIO sold about 88.5 million shares, and they raised about $1.5 billion. And with this money raised, they used part of the proceeds to buy back some of what they had given up in the bailout, and they also raised their stake in NIO China from 75.9 to 86.4. So while that doesn't seem like a huge jump, only going up about 11%, At least to investors, that's a lot better knowing that NIO owns a lot more of their assets than previously. And now we're going to get to where they're actually at right now. But even since August, they've also done 2 more capital raises. And these were both using money to bolster their balance sheet and also to invest in new technologies and further advance their business. But as I mentioned earlier, NIO is spending $850 million to buy back 3.3% of NIO China. And in addition to this, NIO is also putting up about $1.55 billion into NIO China, which is an accounting move in exchange for some newly issued shares. And once these transactions close, NIO is going to own about 90.3% of NIO China. And a lot of people are kind of wondering whether this is a bullish thing, because NIO really didn't react very positively today. They kind of shot up at the beginning and then they pulled back down, and now they're down about 1%. But I think if you look at it in terms of how much NIO owns and what they can really do in the future, this is a very bullish thing. Because owning 90% of NIO China is better than 86 and a lot better than 76. And this is also because NIO China is most of NIO's business right now. And like I said earlier, they do have some stuff in California, but the majority of their assets and their business is in NIO China. So not only does NIO own 90% of NIO China now, but they're also accelerating their plans to enter the American market, and they're also planning to expand to Europe by the end of this year. Now, the reason why people are thinking that NIO is planning to move to America at some point in the near future is because they actually opened up a new job vacancy on LinkedIn. And it says that they're looking to hire a mid-senior level executive, and this is to lead their business development through the US market. And there's actually a snippet of what they're looking for. And you can see here, these are the job responsibilities that they're looking for from an American worker and somebody that can lead NIO. And at least in my opinion, I think this is evidence enough to suggest that NIO is planning to expand to the US in the near future. Now, of course, there would be a lot of hoops and regulations to jump through before they could actually bring their vehicles to the US. But I think this could happen a lot sooner than people are figuring. And a lot of this development actually follows an interview from July of 2020 by NIO CEO. And this is when he stated that NIO is actively working to enter a number of international markets, and one of those included was the US. And then there's also the extensive report on NIO's Project Marco Polo, and this seeks to establish a presence in Europe by the end of 2021. And it's not like NIO is slowing down anytime soon either, because their growth numbers in terms of their deliveries and how much they're actually ramping up production is only increasing month after month. Even just looking at their January deliveries, which was over 7,200, that was about a 3% increase over December deliveries, and year over year it was over 350% as compared to last January. And if they keep up their current production rate, their capacity rate, and this is based on how much they would produce at that certain point in time, and then you extend that out over 12 months. But by the end of 2021 or early 2022, they expect to be able to produce about 300,000 vehicles per year. Now again, that's not saying that they're going to produce 300,000 in 2021. I think it's likely going to be between 100 and 150,000, but this 300,000 is based on what they would produce in a single month at the end of 2021, and then you times that by 12 over a 1-year period. And their ET7 sedan is also expected to hit the market in 2022, and this is also with a brand new semi-solid state battery, which is going to up their range to about 1,000 kilometers or 620 miles. And they also revealed their autonomous driving system, and they termed this NAD for short, and it consists of 33 different sensing units, including a 5mm wave radar, 12 ultrasonic sensors, and 2 high-precision positioning units. And it's also going to have a computing power of 1,016 tera operations per second. And this raw power is also 7 times that of Tesla's full self-driving. So while this doesn't directly relate to NIO expanding to the US, these technologies are going to advance NIO, and the increase in capital, that's what's going to bring NIO to America and help them expand to Europe even sooner. NIO can't just come out of nowhere and say, all right, we're expanding to the US. They have to raise enough money, and they have to make sure they have enough interest and position themselves to get enough US customers to be successful in the US. And again, all these technologies and these 300,000 units per year potentially, they don't directly relate to NIO expanding to the US, but they're really going to help drive NIO forward. And with the increased capacity and the increased capital, that's what's going to help drive NIO into these other countries and help them expand worldwide. Now, for those of you who made it this far into the video, I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are about NIO expanding to the US and what year you think that would possibly happen by. So let me know what year you think they could expand to the US down in the comments. Also, if you guys haven't signed up for Webull, make sure you guys sign up using the link in the description. And when you sign up and deposit $100, you'll get 2 free stocks. And if you guys want to join the Discord, I'll leave the link down in the description and also the top pinned comment down in the comment section. And I encourage you guys to join, especially if you're new to investing or you just have questions. So again, feel free to join if you guys want to. And if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like because it really does help out the channel. And with that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you back here in the next one.